Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory unto to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Akakadash. Welcome to the elders and apostles with Akim Aqua, and I say Shalom. And this is a sit-down lesson of the prophecy updates as of March the 25th, 2025 on Tuesday. And this is a news article from the JerusalemPost.com. It reads, March the 24th, 2025 from Jerusalem Post tab. It says U.S. conducted 10 strikes in Yemen reports. 10 attacks were conducted by the U.S. on the Sitdown district in northwestern Yemen. The Saudi news channel Al Arabiya report on Monday evening. Because you've been having, the rising tensions between the Houthi rebels, which is a pro-Iranian group going against the Israel Defense Force. Because you have the Houthi rebels said they made the announcement like a week and a half ago, almost close to 2 weeks, said they was going to continue to use their campaign airstrikes and ballistic missiles going against the Israel Defense Force, especially over there in the Red Sea. And then you've been having the coalition forces of Great Britain and the United States and the Israel Defense Force using heavy airstrikes against the fully controlled area by the Houthi rebels over there in Yemen. So he's definitely going to be seeing rising tensions between both sides. And this is the book of Matthew. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 24, and verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Right, that's what we're hearing. Ongoing back and forth wars and rumors of wars between the nations of armies rising up against one another. So the Iranian groups going against the Israel Defense Force and the pro-Iranian groups going against the Israel Defense Force. Matthew 24 verse 6. So those are examples of recent wars and rumors of wars. And it's only going to increase. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See, that should be not trouble, for all these things must first come to pass, but the end is not yet. Matthew 24 verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. Right, so it's going to be nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, increasing famines and pestilence plagues, which are going to be continuing to increase more. Yep, as it says again, U.S. conducted 10 strikes in Yemen reports. It says the IDF gives final warnings for residents in the Bay area of Gaza. Right, because you've been having heavy airstrikes from the Israel Defense Force launching against the Hamas, as tensions have been increasing on both sides. It says the IDF gives final warning for Gazans in Beit Hanna after a rocket launch at Israel. The IDF spokesperson in Arabic, Khalil Al-Adir, issued a warning for residents in the Beit Hanna areas of the Gaza Strip on Monday evening. To all residents of the Gaza Strip who are in the Beit Lahia and Beit Hanna areas, this is an early and final warning before an attack. He said that organizations are once again launching rockets from areas populated by civilians. This area has been warned several times in the past. For your safety, you must immediately move west to absorption centers known to you. The warnings came after 2 rockets were launched from Gaza before being intercepted. The IDF, right? Because you've been having rockets been hitting the central Israel and the, I would say central Israel and the southern part of Israel as well too. And then you've been having rockets been fired from the Houthi rebels, rockets fired from the Hamas as well too. So once again, Matthew 24 verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation, right? Houthi rebels going against the Israel Defense Force, Hamas going against the Israel Defense Force. Those are signs of nation against nation. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. To go up a verse, Matthew 24 verse 6, read that once again. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not in trouble, for all these things must first come to pass, but the end is not yet. Trump administration accidentally texts Atlantic editor war plans against Houthis. It says sirens activated in central Israel, Jerusalem outskirts due to the missile from Yemen. The IDF intercepted 2 rockets launched from Gaza. Egypt takes bail release hostages if no ceasefire is agreed upon. So if they expel the hostage prisoners, that means that's only going to stir up more tension between Hamas and Israel Defense Force if agreed is not upon. Because I believe they have, because Egypt has proposed a new ceasefire deal. Let's go to RT. It says Russian journalist killed by Ukrainian strike. It says the U.S. talks in Saudi Arabia wrap up. The two delegates negotiated over 12 hours of setting the Ukrainian conflict. Zelensky officials like a psych ward, Moscow reports. The U.S. linked energy group condemns Ukraine's pipeline attack. And these was previous news articles that was read already. This is a book of Luke. The book of Luke 21 verse 25. It says, and there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars upon the earth, discretion of nations will perplexities rich born. Right, so we're going to be seeing the perplexity of the discretion of nations will besiege rich born, which that's only going to continue to increase. Second, Ecclesiastes 3 verse 8. And a time to love, and a time of HATE, and a time of war, and time of peace. We live in that time as well too. Time of war and a time of HATE as well too. It's the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 9 verse 3. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes, uproars speak the world. Right, so increasing earthquakes and uproars speak the world, and as we see in our world today. 2nd Esdras 15 and verse 16. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, which we're saying right now, sedition among men. The resistance of the Palestinians going against the Israel Defense Force, Iran against Israel, the pro-Iranian groups throughout that region going against the Israel Defense Force, the Houthi rebels going against the coalition forces of Great Britain and the United States and the IDF. So these are seditions among men. You know what these are? Protesters clashing against one another, wars of people of the world, and citizens clashing against their leaders in power. And we see signs of it. It says, for there shall be sedition among men, betting one another. They shall not regard their kings nor their princes, and course of action stand in power. Once again, matter of fact, get to that St. Mark. This is the book of St. Mark, chapter 3, verse 24. And if a kingdom be divided against itself, the kingdom cannot stand. Right, so modern day kingdoms been divided against itself, which cannot stand, which we're seeing increase. And it's going to show forth more. St. Mark 3, verse 25. And if a house be divided against itself, the house cannot stand. Right, so if a modern day house be divided against itself, which cannot stand, which we're seeing in modern day times, just like it was in ancient times. So once again, there's no new thing under the sun. So with that, this was just a quick sit down lesson of the prophecy updates as of March 25th, 2025 on this Tuesday. So with that, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem Kokadash, and the Heavenly Father. The true name is Yahweh, and the only begotten Son Ba'Shem, and the name of Mashiach Yahushua. Those are their true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, Lashwan Kadash on the tongue. I say Barakatham to the elders and apostles. Well, Akim Aqua. Until next time, I would say Shalom.